I'm Nancy Green with Film Critique.
Yeah,
Really, really good documentary. And one of the things that I was curious about is, I found it very striking that a lot of people that you spoke to, they said that they were never asked about how they felt.
yeah,
And so I wanted to know, in your research and with them, what do you think has been done in terms of people's mental health and dealing with all of that? And what do you think could be done?
yeah. Thank you for that question. It's obviously a through line in this film, and that wasn't intentional. When I first started making this film, I didn't know that. I didn't know that, these children had not been asked about this before. I learned that, as everybody kept saying it, and like everybody said it in their own way. And when Maisha first broke down and like started crying after she said that, that's when it really hit me, and like, it kind of seeded me. But it also added validation to this journey, right? It also added more fuel, that like I was not only getting my peer stories, but it was their first time talking about it. And to answer your question about what has been done about it, sadly, I don't feel like much. I think that this film and like this story has, it's offered the opportunity for what we have about 15 people in the documentary. Like, so it's offered the opportunity for about 15 people to, tell their story and, begin that process of healing. But I think that if we're talking about in general, I don't think much has been done. Like, there's still not plans being implemented when it comes to dealing with, mental health and trauma, not just from Katrina, but again, from everything else that we're dealing with, in our community. So that's kind of what I'm hoping that this film could inspire, is that we need to not only address the trauma of Hurricane Katrina, but just like address the traumas and like, the experience of being like Black in America, and like all of the like complex trauma that we deal with. Because sadly, when I taught high school, for 5 years, like, yes, I was telling this story and I was seeking healing on my own, but no one was paying attention to them. Right. So that made me even more upset, because I'm like, like once you feel like you're taking, like two steps up, you get pulled back. So yeah, like sadly, nothing is like, not much is happening if you're asking from my experience and my perspective.
Hmm.
But can I say one last thing?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But what I do think has changed is, as individuals, we are seeking it more. As individuals, we are looking to help ourselves more. We are seeking out wellness. We want to feel better. We want to, address our trauma and, heal our wounds. But I think that from a systemic level and like even in education, I don't think much is being done.
Yeah. Yeah. You're absolutely right. And thank you. Thank you. That's great.
Thank you, Nancy.
Hi. I wanted to know what is some of the footage that you left out, if you can talk a bit about that.
You know, when you work on a project like this that deals with so much trauma, and when you deals with so much pain, and just real life trauma that people are still experiencing today, it's like you have to be careful with it, and I had a different responsibility, because like these were my people, these are my loved ones, like it's my family, it's my friends. So I left like a lot of stuff out, like, to the point where it's like I can't even really speak about all of it. But there were moments like in these interviews where I just had to kind of check myself and be like, yo, you're not just a filmmaker. And one of the problems that like we had with people who come and tell our stories is that they always want to get like the most graphic stuff, and they use that to call themselves great filmmakers, and they use that to evoke emotion. So there was moments like that, because again, like people shared everything with me, like people didn't have much resistance. So, I just had like a different responsibility of like making sure that I was not exploiting, so like I left like a lot of those moments out. And again, like I don't want to call it out, because like that was the whole point of leaving them out. When it comes to some of the archival, I put some of this archival in there, but archival was another tricky thing, because like, while this archival works for the purposes of this film, that same archival can be dangerous in the hands of another artist, or like another filmmaker or journalist or like reporter, right? So there was that was disturbing archival that like I saw of like how we were being spoken about. You know, us being called refugees, right? You know, us being called criminals because we were, you know, breaking into stores to get food that no one else was airdropping, or supplying. So I was really careful with that footage because I do understand that there's power in correcting it, but there's also power in putting it back out there without context. So that those were some of the responsibilities that I found when it came to, you know, just image and like, you know, picture. And, you know, I learned that in the process, like, just like the power of representation, you know, and I hope that I did well with it.
You did. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.